Are you looking for a simple way to integrate design thinking into your software development process? The Triple Diamond might be the framework that you're looking for. The Triple Diamond was developed by the Design Council in the UK in 2005. It was developed by Nigel Cross and Helen Henriksen, and they were trying to look for a practical way to adapt design thinking into the development process or projects that they were working in the public sector. Since then, the Triple Diamond has been adopted by many software companies because it puts in very specific and very simple terms what you had to do in order to do design thinking in your software development product. I've seen it in some companies that I have worked for, and also famous companies like Zendesk have implemented the Triple Diamond in their workflows. I will link an article in the description. So in this video, let's go briefly through what this framework is, what it represents, what are the stages, and also what is going to be the purpose of this framework. So as you can imagine, the 3 diamonds is very related to the 2 diamond framework or model. And if you are familiar with the double diamond, you will probably know that it focuses in 2 diamonds, only 2 areas or stages that you are going to work with. One being the definition and understanding of the problem, and the other one being also the brainstorming and understanding and defining what is going to be the solution. So these 2 stages are going to be relatively similar. Let's walk through them, but I will link also a video here that you can check it out if you want to take a deeper dive into what the double diamond framework is. So one of the things and why it is represented by diamonds is that there's going to be always 2 phases in the ways of working. The first one, you are going to be diverging and you want to be more exploratory. You want to brainstorm. You want to find out, research, and understand better what you are studying, whether it's the problem, the solution, or the development, the delivery part. And the other one, which is the second phase of each one of the diamonds, which is going to be the convergence part, where you want to align, you want to focus, you want to narrow down the scope of what you're building. In the Triple Diamond, the names for the diamonds are going to be slightly different and not just be problem and solution. In this case, we are going to talk about discover, define, and deliver. During the discovery phase, which is going to be very similar to the problem phase in the double diamond, you are going to first research. You are going to first study what are the problems that your potential customers have. You really have to gather information, do research, and really work on understanding the problem that you are trying to fix. During the converge phase, what you're going to be working is that you are going to be focusing and narrowing down what the problem is that you are going to try to tackle. There's going to be many problems when you're doing the research phase that you're going to probably identify many user personas. What you want to do here in this converge phase is define what are the user personas, what are the problems that I'm going to be trying to focus on, and then in later stages finding the solution for. During the define phase, you are going to also have 2 stages or 2 phases. You're going to have first the divergent phase, where you want to be more exploratory. You want to explore what are the potential solutions, what ideas could we use here to solve this problem. So basically what you want to use are tools like brainstorming, like workshop sessions, where there's no bad ideas. You just gather everything, try to see what could you be doing. And then during the second phase of this diamond, you will look into the convergence. You want to start narrowing down. You want to start defining what is going to be your MVP. What is going to be that minimum viable product that you think is going to solve that problem that you define during the first diamond. So this phase is going to help you focus. And as you can see, the first phase of divergence is always going to help you expand, while the second phase is going to help you narrow down, focus, and make sure that you are putting the efforts in the things that you believe that matter the most. And now comes the third phase, which is the delivery. Sometimes this is also known as the development. This is important that it's here because in some ways, when you look at the double diamond, it might feel like, well, it doesn't tell me how to do product development. And this is the good thing with the triple diamond. It's helping you really plan your product development as well. During the development and delivery diamond, the first phase is going to be again a divergent phase. During this divergent phase, you're going to work in things like mockups, prototypes, where you want to try different approaches. How is this potentially going to work? How this is the solution potentially going to be built? And during the second phase, during the converge phase, you are going to start selecting which ones of these prototypes, these mock-ups actually work. You validate with your customers. You make sure that you are building something that resonates with their needs. And here you are going to, again, narrow down, focus, and even refine further the solution that you're building. So during the converge phase, what I'm going to do is not just validating with the customers, but I continuously develop and implement what I have been planning, what prototypes I have validated, what mockups I have validated that really are resonating with the customers, and go through the development process. Again, this is going to be an iterative process, and ideally I'm going to have several iterations and interactions with the customers to understand that what I'm building is really resonating with them. And I want to release sometimes in a relatively often manner. Of course, in the end of this last phase of the converge phase, what I'm going to do is finalize and release the product to the users. And what I don't like of the triple diamond, of this version of the triple diamond, is that it really doesn't tell you the whole story. And this is why I like the Zendesk version probably even more, because the Zendesk version for this last diamond is relatively similar. It goes into first diverge phase, and that's kind of done in a similar manner. But then when it comes to the converge, basically what they say is that there is a kind of an oscillating pattern where I'm all the time diverging, converging, and working together with customers by building and developing and designing the product and getting feedback in a continuous loop. But then there's going to be also validation process added to the end tail of the gate, or however that is said. And there's going to be a validation that is going to be done usually through an early access program, for example. And then even later, there's going to be another phase, which is the rollout. And here you're going to be working in things like commercial availability that you want to develop with the other people that are dedicated for go-to-market. So in the end, the triple framework is trying to get closer to what would be a cross-functional product framework, potentially still not mentioning things like marketing. And maybe there's a space still, for example, or if you think about it, to create a new framework of how a cross-functional team that takes different responsibilities like product management, product design, R&D, marketing, even some sales or sales enablement could work together and define that framework that is going to enable them to really work in a use principles like design thinking and agile, and make sure that what they're building together and they're working together from the beginning. So now let's go and take a look about what are the pros, the cons, and the best use cases that you can have for the triple diamond framework. So from the pros, of course, one of the most important things is that it's a user-centric framework. It really tries to look into what the customer needs and really tries to brainstorm and validate with the customers to understand that what you're building is really something that is tailored for the problem they have, building the correct solution, and developing all the way. Another important aspect is that it's an iterative and flexible framework, and that is going to allow you to adopt when you see that potentially you are not going in the right direction. I think that this is something important that is represented especially in the Zendesk framework when it comes to the tailgate, to thinking about how the development happens. You had to validate, you had to iterate, you had to make sure that what you're building is really tackling that problem that your customers have. And finally, it's a collaborative framework. It encourages your teams to work together. And this is something that is very important because it promotes cross-functional work. Again, as I said, maybe it doesn't include all the things that it should be including, but I think that is probably one of the best frameworks out there to promote cross-functional work. The cons is that, well, as you can imagine, it's time consuming when you see this, when you go through all the phases, understand the problem, understand, focus, define the problem, so on and so forth. It's going to take you quite a while to get there. It's going to take you quite a while to develop it. And something that, well, you have to be mindful of. The next one is that it's an uncertain framework. Realistically, you don't know that what you're building, or when you start working, that you are going to get to the right solutions. You actually probably don't know until you actually start doing that exploration, that research. So you're going to have to spend that time potentially not to find the correct solutions. And finally, it's going to be complex. Many times when you try to adopt one of these frameworks, it sounds relatively easy. You read it and it's like kind of obvious what you need to do, but you had to set up ways of working. You had to set up certain routines in the teams. And this is something that is going to take time, training, probably several failures before you are able to get it right. So when it comes to the best use cases, probably the best one is new product development. As you can imagine, when you're developing a new product, you don't know many things, and sometimes you don't even know which problem you are really going to be fixing until you really take a deep dive, do a good research. The same goes for the solution that you are building. So I think that the triple diamond is very well tailored for that one. For existing products, it will depend a lot. If you are developing like a very big new feature within a product, it might still make sense to do something like a triple diamond. If you are doing service design, I think that triple diamond is also, again, a tool that can help you either define your service or improve the design on existing ones. Another use case that would be interesting is the business strategy. So if you're developing a new business strategy or you're trying to improve a business strategy and you want to really rethink it, I think that this is a very effective tool for you to sit down, really investigate, really try to understand how you could be building this business in a different way from what you maybe have been traditionally doing. So are you familiar with the triple diamond? Have you used it, or do you know any companies that are using it? What are your thoughts? Share with us in the comments below. If you want to know more about other successful frameworks that are being used out there for developing new products and software products, go check out this playlist. I will see you on the next one. And remember, stay safe.